Now then, let me tell you, a lot of boxing news to get through tonight, and the man to tell, Christian and myself, is promoter Eddie Hearn, who joins us on set this evening. Eddie, good to see you. We actually have a lot to get through here because last weekend, all the British fighters were impressing in Liverpool. Callum Smith, Rocky Fielding, two super middleweights on a collision course, seemingly. What do you make of their rise here, Eddie?
Two good performances. I mean, Rocky Fielding, firstly, against the experienced Brian Vera, been in the likes with, Julio Cesar Chavez twice, beat Andy Lee, boxed at a very high level towards the latter period of his career now, but Rocky Fielding demolished him. And Callum Smith won virtually every round against a very game Christopher Abras, who, put in a good performance as well against George Grover recently. Two top fighters in the division, both on the verge of fighting for a world title, and both on the verge of fighting each other.
And how likely would that be?
It's very likely. It's kind of sad because, both guys are really looking to challenge for world titles. As a promoter of both fighters, you've got one guy's 17-0, one guy's 21-0, and it's a 50-50 fight. So whenever you gamble as a fighter, you need to gamble for something big. The British title's on the line there, but kind of feels like there should be a bigger carrot for those guys. If it can be for a mandatory spot for a world title, I think we can make the fight happen. But two great guys and both from the same city.
Let's talk about this. You've been talking recently about Anthony Joshua, soon to fight Dillian Whyte. Now, you said that fight could bring out his dark side. What do you mean, Eddie?
I think, I think it was Paul Smith who said that in boxing there's a lot of good guys trying to be bad. And with Anthony Joshua, you've got a bad guy trying to be good. So to be a great fighter, you have to have something about you. And you see the clips here. This is not a nice guy you're watching in a ring. This is someone that wants to hurt you and wants to demolish you. And let me tell you, he will. So Dillian Whyte, there's history there. And, in the build-up to that fight, you're going to get to see another side of Anthony Joshua. He's a great role model for the sport. He's a great ambassador for the sport. We need that. The sport of boxing needs people like Anthony Joshua. But you can't change who you are, and he's a fighter. And when someone confronts him, like Dillian Whyte will, you're going to see a different side to Anthony Joshua.
Why? What's Dillian Whyte going to do?
I think he's going to get to him. I think he's going to talk personally about him. I think, these guys, this is a unique sport. This is two men that go into a 20-foot ring to have a fight with each other in front of 20,000 people. These aren't, these are strange people, fighters. It's not right, is it? Let's be honest. No. But it's the greatest sport of all. No, certainly not, Jim. No. I might do it with you, but, I don't know about anyone else.
Major success, let me tell you.
Maybe. But, it's... these guys, they've got a lot of history. They grew up together. Dillian Whyte beat Anthony Joshua in the amateurs. That footage is on YouTube. Everyone's referring back to that. But the good news for fight fans is that Anthony Joshua now is on... Well, he's ready for the big fights, and September the 12th he'll be back in the ring at the O2, and there's a huge amount of fighters that want to get it. They're all calling him out. They want to charge an absolute fortune for the pleasure. I don't blame them. This is danger money to get in the ring with Anthony Joshua. Yeah. So, but it's exciting times. I feel like we have a heavyweight there who could go on and control the heavyweight division for years to come.
I don't know about you, Eddie, but a lot of people say to me, we want to see Anthony Joshua lose it a bit. Yeah. We want to see him taken further into a fight. Let's see what this boy is made of. Is that what you get all the time?
I want to too. Yeah. But we haven't found anyone who's capable of doing it. And every time we've selected opponent, it's, let's get this guy. He's durable. The guy who, before he boxed Kevin Johnson, he fought a guy called Rafael Zambano Love. That guy went 10 rounds with the world #2, Charles Martin. He went 8 rounds with Eric Molina, who just boxed Deontay Wilder. Joshua destroyed him in 2. So we get Kevin Johnson. He went the 12 rounds with Klitschko. He went the 12 rounds with Tyson Fury. He went the 12 rounds with Derek Chisora. He goes barely 2 rounds, or barely 1 round with Anthony Joshua. So, I don't think there's many fighters in the division that Anthony wouldn't be a favourite against, but we have to do things right. He is still learning. He's not the finished article, and we'll take the right fights at the right time. But the good news for fight fans is, Dillian Whyte, David Price, Tyson Fury, David Haye, they're all going to get their opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua.
Let's talk about Tyson Fury. He's preparing for that world title fight with Vladimir Klitschko. It's gone to purse bids, hasn't it? Will you be putting a bid in?
Maybe. I mean, it's when a fight is mandated like that, the two promoters will have a certain period of time to reach an agreement. They haven't been able to, but the purse bids aren't till Monday. So there'll be a lot of people interested in bidding. We might take a trip to Panama ourselves and put a little cheeky bid in, you never know. But I think Tyson Fury will be sitting there saying, maybe we'll just let this go to purse bids and see who wants to pay the most money. It's a big fight. It's for the world heavyweight title. It involves a Brit. So in that respect, I think, you know, we might be active.
What about Kell Brook? Brandon Rios still the most likely opponent for him next time out?
I think so, yeah. I mean, actually got a missed call from Top Rank about 5 minutes ago to try and wrap that up. So I think Brandon Rios is the most likely fight for Kell Brook, and I think you'll see that on September the 12th at the O2. You know, we're looking to build a huge night of boxing on that night, like we did on May the 30th with Brook against Gavin and Joshua and Kevin Mitchell and Lee Selby. It was a wonderful night for British boxing, and we want to do the same. I think Kell Brook, in my opinion, outside of Floyd Mayweather, is the best welterweight in the world. And now he's got to start proving it against the likes of Rios, against the likes of Bradley, Thurman. Dare I throw in the name of Amir Khan, which, you know, the whole country wants to see that fight, but it's very boring to keep talking about it. And, you know, maybe Mayweather. I mean, Mayweather hasn't got an opponent yet for September the 12th. We keep putting our name in the hat, but we have to prove ourselves. Kell Brook has to prove himself. He's a brilliant fighter, but now he has to go through the gears. He beat Sean Porter on his home patch. Sean Porter just beat Adrian Broner very comfortably in Vegas a few weeks ago. Kell Brook's dealt with him, but he has to keep beating these top-level guys to get the shots against the likes of Floyd Mayweather.
Just before Kirsty comes in again, Eddie, I'm fascinated. Is it totally down to Mayweather who Mayweather fights next?
Completely, completely. I don't think anyone knows what he's going to do or who he's going to choose. He recently came out and gave two names, Andre Berto and Carrie Mayfield. Mayfield, everyone went, what? Who? You know. And the reason he done that, potentially, he might be very clever, because when he mentions two names, everyone goes, I hope it's Andre Berto and not Carrie Mayfield. Yeah. But the fact is that he's kind of just boxed the very best in the world in Manny Pacquiao. It's his 49th fight, so he's probably saying, you know what, I'm going to choose who I fight, and I'll fight whoever I want. So he's sort of, you know, he's earned the ability to do that, but people want to see him fight the best. But I don't think he's going to fight a Brook, a Khan or a Thurman, because they're three very dangerous fights. And I think at this particular stage in his career, he doesn't really need a dangerous fight. He doesn't really want a dangerous fight.
But we want a dangerous fight,
of course. Yeah. But it doesn't always work out like that.
Now, what's the update on Carl Froch? Is it his 30th birthday today?
38th. He wishes it was his 30th birthday. He'll be over the moon with that, to be honest.
Happy birthday, Carl. Yeah. He hasn't fought in over a year, has he? What's happening with Carl, or what can you tell us?
I think that, you know, I said a week or so ago, I think it's probably likely that Carl Froch will retire. I think straight after the fight at Wembley, I remember saying at the press conference, you know, to have an event of that magnitude, taking the financial element away, I mean, he earned a lot of money, but to have a night like that and then to come back in something lesser is quite difficult to do. And Carl is a fighter that has built his career on hunger and desire and will to win. He's not the greatest, the most skillful fighter of all time, but in terms of tenacity, in terms of hunger and desire, he's right up there. And you take that away from a fighter, and they're not the same. And I'd hate Carl Froch to spoil his legacy by going into a fight without those attributes that made him so great. So, as a fan, Carl Froch against Gennady Golovkin, I mean, I'd buy a ticket myself, you know, even if I was promoting the show. But for me, you know, unless he has that desire, and there's a new wave of super middleweights coming through now. You know, James DeGale just won a world title, Callum Smith, Rocky Fielding, George Groves fights for a world title, Martin Murray now up at super middleweight. So, you know, I feel like the new guard are coming in. Froch will always, everybody will want to watch Carl Froch fight. I think, you know, the one thing he's always given to fight fans is value for money. But I think you're probably going to see him on this side of the camera for Sky Sports rather than that side in the future.
Yeah.
Eddie, just a final one. Manchester this month. This is exciting, isn't it? How much are you looking forward to seeing Scott Quigg, Anthony Crolla? I like Crolla. He's been through a lot in their fights. How will they do?
It's a great night. I mean, we've actually got 3 world title fights on that night, 2 British title fights. You've got Scott Quigg against Kiko Martinez, which is a great fight for the WBA Super Bantamweight title. You've got Arthur Abraham in the 4th fight against Robert Stieglitz for the WBO Super Middleweight title, coming in live on Sky Sports. And you've also got Anthony Crolla against Darlis Perez. Now, that fight, the story behind that fight, Anthony Crolla was due to fight Richard Abril for the world title. Next door neighbours were getting burgled. He saw it. He stopped them, chased them up the street, confronted them. One of the guys come, hit him over the head with a concrete slab, fractured his skull, broke his ankle. Everyone thought the career was over. He somehow fought his way back into contention, and on July the 18th, in front of his home fans, gets a chance to win a world title.
Wow.
And one of the nicest guys in boxing.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always mean you're going to win. But, you know, sometimes life throws up some funny terms and things happen for a reason. And I think on July the 18th, he'll become the world champion.
Terrific, Eddie. Oh, great to see you. I'm always amazed at how you remember all these boxers' names. Well done, my friend. Great to see you.
No worries.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Eddie.
much.